I'm Cait Zulewski.
I'm Charlie Roberts.
Welcome to the guest list.
Today on the guest list, we are joined by Kevin Doherty. Kevin is our Director of Food and Beverage, a company-wide role. He's here in Buffalo this week as part of hospitality workshops that we're hosting. Kevin, thank you for being here. I know you've got a busy week in front of you, so thanks for taking a little time with us.
Thanks for having me.
We love when we have different Delaware North leaders in town. And so when we heard this hospitality workshop was taking place, we put our heads together and said, who do we want to grab out of that and spend some time with us? So we really appreciate you taking the time.
And no chef coat.
I almost, funny story. So I always saw you in Boston, and every time I saw you, you had your chef's cap on, every time. And I came to Boston one time and you didn't have it on. And it took me a second to realize that you were Chef Kevin. And I was like, wow, I've really never seen this man with his bare head.
Incognito.
Did you walk right past him and not even say hi?
Well, I did one of those, like I looked at him and looked away and then did a double take and was like, oh, hi, Chef.
Well, with that, why don't you, for our viewers here, just kind of take a minute and kind of walk us through your career and how you got to where you are.
So many, many light years ago, I was born into it, let's say, with my grandparents' bakery. My grandparents had a bakery in Dennisport, Massachusetts, and from an early age of, 10 or 11 years old, I started the overnights during the summer with my grandfather. And it was, wow, I can eat what I make. Hence one of my phrases, if you don't eat, you die. So it was making breads, rolls, pastries, cookies, cakes from the day school got out until a week before it went down. And it was my mother's parents. So the family would go down and I'd work the overnights.
That's incredible.
And you've been with Delaware North how many years?
25 years.
25 years. And of those 25, at least close to 2 decades were executive chef at TD Garden. Yeah.
Almost two decades at TD.
So 2 decades at TD Garden. And then you fairly recently shifted into this more enterprise culinary role. You're working directly with Chef Lou Pugy. Tell us a little bit about that transition. What did all of your years at TD Garden do to help prepare you for this more full Delaware North enterprise role? So
TD being the beast that it is, you hire chefs and sous chefs to support you along with all your cooks. And if you don't train them, you end up running around like a lunatic. So that was one of the biggest pieces that I learned early on. You need to train your team to what you want them to do. So I've been doing that all this time, and all of a sudden this role came up, and now it's on the enterprise level. How can I support the enterprise with those young chefs and young sous chefs, getting them to what's next in their career?
Mm-hmm.
You had the privilege and honor, I would say, of working with our former corporate chef, Roland Henin, who Roland is one of only 70 certified master chefs in the United States. During that time, some major events, right? 2008, you guys earned a bronze medal in the Culinary Olympics in Germany. 2014, Roland taps you and one of our other former executive chefs, Percy Watley, to take the certified master chef exam. Just talk a little bit about, a couple of those big events that you worked with Roland and what it was like working with such a legend in the culinary space.
It's almost surreal, I think is the best way to put it, where I had to look up who Chef was the first time I met him. I says, who is this guy and what is he all about? Chef never had a television until I think he retired, and it was all about the food. There's no excuse. It's food. It's the guest. It's the food. So getting ready for the Olympics, cold food. What's cold food? Cold food is a salad. That was a learning curve in itself where we practiced and we went over and over the minute details. And then we finally get to Germany, and Chef's a legend. We're in a foreign country and people are bowing to, Chef, what are you doing here? He says, I have a team with me. And we were a bunch of misfits, to put it nicely. The team of us, yes, we had a seat at the table, but did we belong? I think we did. We worked hard. We earned our right to be there.
You took a bronze medal. I think you belonged.
It was pretty cool to be on the world stage, and you put all your skill up there for others to judge, which we do all the time in every meal in every restaurant, and the details shine through.
Do you remember what you made?
I do. You had to do a gastronomic platter for 8 people, and then you had to do 2 judge plates, and then you had to do a 5-course appetizer tasting. So those guidelines change every 4 years when the Olympics come around. And it was a taste of New England seafood. Mm-hmm. You got to draw upon what comes natural to my roots. And it was every bit of, you look back on it, and we worked 20 hours a day, 3 days straight to get ready for this. And we were in Germany 3 weeks.
It's kind of amazing to think, it's almost 20 years later, and the focus on, culinary excellence and hospitality excellence, continues to be obviously a huge emphasis for Delaware North. I guess just like, what did it mean for the company to be a part of that event? And I guess in present day, would we ever do it again?
First part of the question, excellence is in everything we do. It's the small details. Do you make your bed in the morning? It all starts there. People laugh. Mm-hmm. If you get in the habit of making your bed, for whatever reason, do you comb your hair? Are your clothes pressed? Is your uniform pressed? That's where it starts. How we greet our guest. Is there a warm welcoming? Welcome, thanks for coming. Same thing in the back of the house. Do you greet your staff when they come in, or you just walk by them? The same attention to detail has to go into the Culinary Olympics, or even feeding our guests downstairs. Is the plate clean, top and bottom? Is there lipstick on the glass? Is it clean? All of those pieces help build on it. Second part of your question, I sure hope we do it again.
Yeah.
It would be nice. What was very cool, Rick Abramson and Jerry Jacobs on the stage with me as they put the medal around my neck. That was pretty cool.
It's pretty special.
Yeah.
It is.
I guess in kind of building on where I set up my long-winded question before that, you, don't be humble here, but were selected by Roland to participate in the Certified Master Chef exam yourself. A grueling, almost 2-year process. Reflect on that a bit.
So the CMC isn't something you study for. It's an accumulation of everything that makes up the person. Goes back to, do you make your bed? Are you disciplined in what you do? We made a comment before we went live that you only see me in a toque. That's part of who I am. The first year I was at the Garden, everybody was like, who's this guy with this hat on? That's what makes up my DNA. You can't change that. And nor am I going to change. I'm not a pine tree, I'm an oak tree. Pine tree roots shallow, oak trees are deep. I might bend, but I'm not going to be uprooted. So everything you do, working at the bakery, I can tell you a story about, we used to make challah bread. A classic challah is braided 6 times. My grandfather taught me to sing it in order to braid it. So now fast forward, my daughter's born and I'm braiding her hair and I braid it like a challah. And my wife says, what are you doing? But it's up, over, down, and you fold it and put it in the pan. So as I'm doing a practice with another master chef, he says, Chef, why are you singing? I said, that's the only way I can do it. He says, keep singing. Glad you don't sing for a living, but those are the pieces that, working in a steakhouse, what did I get out of working in a steakhouse? Speed, being able to cook different pieces of meat, all of those pieces that come into play. Butchery. Butchery is almost non-existent now. If you don't practice your craft, it becomes obsolete. We're in a world of convenience foods. Teaching somebody to break down a whole chicken or a fish, those are back to the basics.
Okay, so this is actually a great segue. earlier when we were talking about your experience at TD Garden and how did that prepare you for an enterprise-wide role, we can never talk to one of our most senior level culinarians without talking about the chef's program, right? So a very special program to Delaware North where we really invest in that next generation of culinarians to learn from the best. So we're preparing our chefs and our sous chefs for their next roles. You play a really important part in the chef's program. So talk to us a little bit about what mentorship means to you. And we've talked about Chef Roland, but who are some of the mentors that have guided you in your career?
So I think there's a lot of people involved. It starts with your parents, right? They set the tone, the work ethic, I believe. I had William Coyne was my first real mentor. That's when I worked for a catering company, and he taught me the human side of it. Wasn't so much the cooking piece, it was the human side. Then I had Chef Henin, and now I'm going to call Lou as my latest and greatest mentor, and he kind of smirks at it. You're in it for the long haul now. But it's meeting somebody where they are. It's not judging. Listen, if you don't have the skill set and you're willing to come in and I'll teach you how to break down a chicken, let's do it. Let's have fun. I don't have all the answers. I know where to get the answers, or I know how to research to get the answers. So chef's program is the start of empathy, which is something relatively new to me. How's that? Admitting it is half the battle. I didn't have empathy 20 years ago. This is how we're going to do it. This is how we're going to get there. We're going to march down. We're going to do this. So now, as the world changes, Chef Kevin has empathy. It's meeting everybody where they are, and how can I bring you to what's next? Listen, not everybody was a breakfast cook. Not everybody has the comfort of cooking eggs of any nature. Over easy, a rolled French omelet, a poached egg, on and on and on. Let's work on this. Let's work on your knife is just an extension of your hand. If you're not comfortable with it, if you're always afraid you're going to get cut, you're never going to get into that real good groove. Accept the tools. Right? We all drive cars or bicycles or whatever it is. Everybody's had a crash. They crashed their bike or their skateboard, whatever it is. Get back on it and keep going. So that chef's program is the same way. Regardless of where you are in your career, there's something in it for somebody. Not saying that our way is perfect, but partnering with CIA, doing the pro chef piece, it validates. I hope that answers part of that.
And so in all of your mentoring of others, can you share with us an experience you've had that you found particularly rewarding as a mentor as you were working with an up-and-coming emerging culinarian? Has there anything that's really touched you when you saw their growth?
There was, I don't know the year. The years are blurs at this point. But it was after the Olympics. Myself and another colleague got the tap on the shoulder to try out for Team USA, so the national team. And we went off to Chicago, and again, Chef Henin joined us, and you get invited to do cold food first, and if you score high enough, you get invited back to do hot food, and if you score high enough, you get picked for the team. So I tapped a young cook on the shoulder at TD who had worked with me, and he was as green as the grass. I said, we're going to do this together. Yes, chef. And he understood if it's 20 hours a day, it's 20 hours a day. If it's your day off, it's your day off. So he accompanied me as my commis for cold food. Well, guess what? I scored high enough to get invited back to do hot food. My hot food wasn't at the mark that it should have been, 4 weeks later. I think they invited 20, they picked 12. I was 13th. It's okay. It's about the experience. So fast forward all these years, he's now chef of a Marriott property in Chicago, 1,000-room property. Still get texts twice a year. Hey, if you're ever in town, love to host you. Mm-hmm. That's cool. Or he'll post a picture of us. I didn't have gray hair and it wasn't falling out, but the two of us young, 15, 18 years ago, in Elgin, Illinois. He goes, remember this, chef? I said, I do.
That's amazing.
So those are the great stories.
That's great.
You talked about the world changing and you're changing with it. What culinary trends are you currently watching?
I like to see that real food's coming back.
Yeah.
It's, we're trying to craft some menus in between meetings, and real food. We don't need to sugarcoat it with all these lavish ingredients. Back to what everybody's saying, meet the people where they are. COVID changed a lot of things, and I think the way people want to eat the way they eat at home. Mm-hmm. They want hot food hot, cold food cold. They want it to taste good. They want it to look visually appealing. And they want to understand what it is. And now, everything that you can find online, you can find everything about the chicken, the fish. You can know about the captain that caught the lobsters, where the chicken came from, everything about it. So if you name something, you better have the history behind it, because you're going to get called out. Mm-hmm. And it's cooking real food.
You mentioned Chicago, which we know is a great culinary destination, but what's your favorite city or destination for food? You can't say Boston.
You could say Boston.
You could.
Yeah.
You could say
Well,
Buffalo.
I'll tell you about Boston. So there's a laundry list of restaurants, and it keeps growing. Every time one of my friends says, hey, we got to go here, I can't get through the old list, and you keep adding to it. So having the opportunity to travel as we do, we have a hit list of where we need to go when we go to different places. So I don't have one destination. I have recommendations of my peers in the industry that say, you need to go here. Mm-hmm. Or if I'm someplace and one of my colleagues says, why don't you come over for dinner? We haven't seen each other in a while. That's the best meal.
Oh, sure.
Or, hey, you want to cook dinner with my wife and I? Absolutely. Let's go. Mm-hmm. Or having, friends over to my house. The same, thing holds true.
We're going to get you out of here on this one. With your time at the Garden, you've cooked for many famous people, many dignitaries, etc. If you could cook for one person who you haven't yet cooked for, who would it be? Dead or alive?
I'd say past family members without thinking about it. Mm-hmm. Both sets of grandparents and my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How cool would that be?
Yep.
No question.
It's a great answer. Chef, thank you again for your time. Like we said, we know you're here for a big workshop on hospitality, and whether you meant to or not, almost every word you said today really embodies what Delaware North is about with our culinary excellence and our commitment to hospitality. Everything that you were saying about the details of how you start your day, what's important, the discipline. You've really shared a lot of wisdom with us today in a pretty condensed period of time. So again, we're so grateful that you took the time to join us, and thanks for this very enlightening conversation.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Chef.